Hi friends, and welcome back to A Moment with Hales. Today we are going to be seed starting or seed transplanting, really, episode 4 I think in this series. So first, what I did, like I say, I use an organic seed starting mix. It can be from anywhere. You can get super particular about your soil that you want to use, and I'm sure there's a lot of research out there. I just use an organic seed starting mix from any store, put it in a big bowl and mix it up with water. I saturate it before I put any of my seedlings inside of it. I have had seedlings going. I have all different shapes and sizes, which I can show you guys. But right now, today, I did put some more in this tray that I am gonna have to repot and retransplant. And then I also have some, I think these are cucumbers. I made the mistake I say never to do. I didn't label them, but I'm pretty confident they're cucumbers, and we're going to be repotting these as well. So the reason why I do repot my plants, I started them in these tiny little trays here and then move them up as the season moves forward. I have the small tray, I have the medium size, and then I also have the large size as well. But the reason why I do transplant them is because there's only so much nutrients in the tray itself and in the dirt put in there, and I am still gonna have them inside for probably a week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. So I wanna make sure they have enough nutrients so they can grow nice and strong and healthy, and also have room for the root system to grow as well. So we are going to repot first here. These, I think they're cucumbers. All right, and when I am repotting, there's so many different methods to do this, friends. So this is how I do it. I'm one beginner to another. This has worked for me throughout the years, but again, everyone has different methods. If you have a different method you use, I would love to hear it. So please comment it below, share it, show your methods here. I'm going to fill this up with the wet seed starting mix. Might be a little bit much. All right, so I've got my little pot there. Then I'm going to take this cucumber, which they're looking a little sad because they've been outside. You do have to go through something, it's called hardening your plants. This is important because you're exposing them to the sun, the real UV versus under the grow lights. You don't want to just take your seedlings from inside and put them directly in the dirt. It can shock them. So you want to introduce them to the sun slowly. So these have been outside for probably about 2 hours now because with it being overcast, but I am gonna bring them inside pretty quick here. If it's a really sunny, intense day, you don't wanna put them out that long right at the beginning, but you do need to go through a process where you introduce them to the sun slowly and then put them out in your beds because the sun will shock them. So how I take my seedlings out, I'm gonna gently just push around the bottom where this is. I have my handy dandy, it's a cheese or butter knife here. I gently go around the sides, and you want to be very careful not to disturb the root system. I gently bring the plant up and pop it out. So we have a little cucumber. And then from there, I'm gonna take my little cucumber, I have my pot here, I'm gonna make a little hole in the middle for it, gently push it in there, and then fill the dirt around it. I don't pack it too tight in there. I do make sure it's in there well. I just put a little bit of dirt around it here. And again, I'm a beginner. This is what I've done. Let me know what works for you. But this little cucumber, it is going to be set for the next few weeks. It has enough nutrients here, and it can grow up as well and have a nice room to flourish to be ready to put outside. Another question I've been getting asked is about watering, and my husband waters the garden. That is not my job, that is his job. We trade jobs or assign jobs. So as far as watering goes, he usually checks the soil to see how it's feeling. And in regards to the trays, what we do is bottom water. So we have the seedlings put in something, like this, and we put them in some sort of tray. So here, this is probably not the best example, but I'll show you. We also have like cookie sheets that they go on as well. We just put them right in the tray, and how he waters them is he just puts water in here on the bottom, and that makes the root system work its way down to the actual water instead of watering them up at the top. And if you use something like a humidity dome, like saran wrap or some sort of plastic covering when you're trying to get them to germinate, you want to take that off as soon as you're seeing germination to help get rid of any fungus or anything that might be growing on the top of the dirt. But as far as watering seedlings goes, he feels and waits until the dirt, it looks decently dry on the top, and then he'll put water down here on the bottom and do bottom watering. Now, in regards to watering the garden beds, I would have to ask him his method. He usually just does it when he comes home from work. I doubt he'll ever come on here, but maybe he will sometime and he can do an episode on watering. So I have these little 2 cucumbers here. I'm gonna transplant them into this size pot. I just wanna show you, this is kind of the difference, the different sizes, so you can see this is gonna give them a lot more nutrients until they're ready to get moved outside. This is why you don't typically want to start seedlings too soon, because it can get a little overwhelming having to repot them so many times. But this is what I do. I don't know, it's my move, I guess. It's what I tend to do with my seedlings. So I have my pot here, my cucumber. I'm going to make a little hole in the middle. I'm gonna go ahead and wiggle my cucumber in there. And I have my cucumber repotted. I also wanted to review with you different pots that I use when it comes to seedlings. I've seen so much online about doing it certain ways, and I just want to say, don't get too caught up in the details regarding dirt or types of seeds or different things. There's a particular way that everybody likes to do things, and that is okay. I do it one way, you might do another. A method might work better for you than for me, and I'm going to learn from you and do it that way next time. But it can get really overwhelming when it comes to gardening, and you can get really caught up in the weeds, if you will. And for me, it was really hard to start because I wanted it to be perfect, but then I realized it's not going to be perfect. I need to just try. And I tried, and it turned out really fun. And some things don't work and some things do, and every year one thing does really well and one thing doesn't, and that's just how it goes and what happens. So when it comes to what you want to start your seedlings in, you have a lot of different options. You can use a tray like this. This was the first year I did something like this. I don't really love it, but it's a method. If you use it and love it, that's great for you. I do think that doing my flowers, I've never done flowers before, but seed starting flowers in here I think is going to be easier than doing a lot of random vegetables and fruits, because they grow at different speeds. So when it comes to the grow lights, it's kind of hard, and they're very small, so you do have to transplant pretty quickly. But you can do something like this. You can also do these pots. I've seen online these pots get a lot of hate, which is fine, but these pots you can get at Lowe's, you can get them at Home Depot, you can get them at Tractor Supply, you can get them at a local, I'm sure a local store that is a hardware store or a gardening store. I like these. Some people plant them directly in the ground because they say they're compostable. I'm not sure about that, so I don't do that. I've used some of these for 3 years now, and they are starting to look a little worn, so I probably won't use them next year. But these are great. I like these pots. They've worked well for me. They're nice because you can bottom water with them, and the water gets absorbed into the pot itself. These pots have holes on the bottom too, so they've been super easy and convenient to use. If you're just starting like 12 plants, just get a couple of those and call it a day. These are reused from landscaping. When I was redoing our front yard, I got these from Lowe's a long time ago, and I saved them and repurposed them, which I love repurposing. This is probably my favorite method, is repurposed from the grocery store. These had blueberries in them at one point. There's holes at the bottom, so I can go ahead and bottom water them. They have a humidity dome on top. I love this. Is probably my favorite method because I'm repurposing. It's something that I've purchased that I'm reusing and giving it a second life, and I can save these again for next year and use them as well. The other method that we did years ago, but I did not do this year, is a toilet paper roll. So this is a really cool method. This actually worked really well. I don't know why I didn't do it again, probably because it's extra work. But all you have to do is you cut 4 slices in this and then fold it at the bottom. So like so, it's folded, and you just tape this. You just tape it, label it, you just literally scoop it up with your seed starting mix, drop your seedling in it, and put it in a tray. Now, the one thing I will say, bottom watering this might be a little bit difficult, but we loved this, and we were able to, when they were ready, we could actually just unroll this, and the seedling was right there, and I put it right in the ground. We did this our first year, and it worked really well. Other people use egg cartons. I am not a huge fan of that because I have a hard time transplanting my seedlings, so I thought it was really difficult when I used it to get the seedling out, but some people love it and swear by it. I may have just been trying to get the seedling out too early as well. And then I just repurpose stuff, you guys. You can use stuff that's around your house. Gardening doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. This was a Dr. Teal's bath tea that I saved, and my husband drilled holes at the bottom. This actually has been my favorite method. I only have one left, but I love it because look, you can see the roots. Isn't that so cool? I love this, and I wish I had more of this to plant stuff in, because I love seeing the roots and seeing like what's going on. And then you could bottom water, and it's plastic, and I just love it. It's my last one I have left. So, and then I also have some other items we used from previous landscaping as well too. And some people use wooden crates because they want to repurpose or not use plastic, and that's cool too. I've never done that. It's something that I would like to maybe do next year, or possibly this year when I do my flowers, because they all can go in one crate itself. For the first time this year, I'm adding cucamelons into my garden. I've never done them before. I don't know much about them besides my sister telling me that they're delicious, so I decided to try them. I did not know they take a really long time to germinate, and I started them late, so I'm hoping I didn't mess it up. But I do have 2 cucamelons here. It's this one and this one that are looking good, that I am going to transplant because the rest did not germinate so far. I might see a couple coming up there, but I at least want to have 2 cucamelon plants that I know are going to be good if I have to restart the seedlings. I'm going to put them in this size tray because they're only going to be in here for the next couple weeks, and they're not as large as something like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and repot the cucamelon here. If anyone has grown cucamelons before, I would love to hear from you because I have never done it. I'm in zone 7B, so it does get hot here. I'm hoping it's not going to be too hot for the cucamelons, but we'll see. So for the cucamelons, I went ahead and filled these 2 right here. And I'm gonna take my handy dandy cheese or butter knife. I'm gonna gently just go around the sides of the cucamelon. And again, I'm sure there's a lot of different methods for this, but I'm gonna pop it out just like this. I'm gonna bring it over here. I have a little hole put in the middle. I'm just gonna drop my cucamelon in there like that. And then I'm just gonna lay some dirt around it as well. So there we go. Another question you might be wondering is, when do you know you need to repot them? To be honest, I'm sure that there is a scientific way to tell, but how I do it is I'm just looking at the plant itself. So if you look at this kale here, it's pretty high above the tray. If you look at the cucumbers in the back right here, they don't look too bad. I would give it about a week, and some of these are gonna have to probably get transplanted, but they'll be all right for a week. This kale is already so high that I do need to go ahead and take it out to get it some more nutrients and some new dirt. The other determination, pretty much for us, is our grow lights. So we like our grow lights, especially when we're trying to get them to germinate, to be as low as possible towards the dirt here. So these cucamelons have not come up yet, but this kale has. So when we put our grow light as close to possible here, it's really close to the kale, so we're afraid the kale's gonna get burned by the light, but then also the cucamelons aren't getting the ample heat or the light that they need for them to germinate as well. So I basically repot things as soon as it messes with our grow light and how we're going to lay the grow light across the actual seed starting tray. I've got my 2 cucamelons repotted here. The rest look like maybe a few are coming up, so I'm gonna let them stay in this tray till they mature a little bit more. But I would like to know more about cucamelons. So if you have grown them, please comment below resources you've used or what you've done that's worked for you. I would love to learn more. I also wanted to show you repotting tomatoes. So my chicken got in here as I was trying to do this, and she got the strongest tomato plant that I had. She got it pretty good. She landed right on it, but I'm gonna show it to you. So if you look here, this stem was looking pretty strong, but she broke this piece here. So let's repot this. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do to try to save it. What's cool about tomato plants is they can root along the entirety of their stem. So here she broke, you can see this, and she broke this, but I'm gonna take those off anyways. I'm gonna break those leaves right off. And I'm going to bury it up to here in the dirt because this could potentially turn into roots, giving the tomato a really strong stem and root system, because tomatoes become very top heavy as obviously they produce their fruit. This is a hillbilly tomato, so we're gonna go ahead and repot this since Charles damaged her. So I'm gonna get this size pot, I'm gonna fill it up. I have my pot filled, and I'm going to get this tomato plant here, be as gentle as possible. I'm gonna push it as deep as I can into the soil. So you can see that, and I'm gonna fill the dirt all the way up to the top. So I filled it up all the way to the top, and hopefully that will give this tomato plant new roots up towards the top of the stem to help it not get too top heavy or be nice and strong. When you plant tomatoes in the ground, I'll show you my method when I do it, but some people plant them sideways. There's all sorts of stuff people do with tomatoes. They're really cool. But what I typically do is I'll take the bottom leaves, the lowest leaves, just pop them off, and then plant it like I did there as low as I can with the dirt all the way up to the leaves where they start. So we're gonna go ahead and repot this tomato plant as well. So I'm just gonna easily get it right on out of here. So I have my tomato plant. I am gonna go ahead and take these leaves off, these bottom two leaves, and then I'm gonna bury it in the dirt up to here. This is a nice stem too. Look at these stems, nice and healthy. I love that. So I have my pot here filled a little bit too high. Dump a little bit out there. And I have my tomato plant. I'm gonna go ahead, put it in, and just gently try to push it down because you wanna make sure the roots are good. So you can see that's in there like that. And then I'm just gonna fill dirt in all around it. And there we go. I have my tomato plant repotted, and I'm going to label it. Oh, this was a cherry tomato. I thought it was a large tomato. So I'm gonna go ahead and label it cherry tomato plant. When you're repotting too, you really have to keep track of what you're repotting where, because I've made so many mistakes thinking I'm planting one thing and it turns out to be another. So when it comes to gardening, it doesn't have to be super fancy and perfect. It can be messy, it can be reused items. You don't have to spend a lot when it comes to starting your garden. My advice also would be start a couple different seedlings that you want to, because some may not germinate, like you see with my cucamelons here. Hopefully they do. I'm sad if they're not going to, because I think I used all my seeds. But not everything's gonna work out perfectly, and that's okay. The point of this is to show you if I can do it, you can do it, because I did not have a green thumb at all, and this has just been a really fun process for me. I wanna end with showing you something that's not working and a concern that I have, because I shouldn't say I've never had this happen. I don't remember this having happened before, but my basil, all of my basil that I'm growing inside, which I was really excited about and I wanted to give away for gifts, are browning, and I don't know why. It says it can be from underwatering or overwatering. It also could be the grow light is too close, but I think it's interesting that it's just my basil that this has been happening to. So if anyone has advice about basil that's browning, you can see it browning, let me know. I'm still gonna go ahead and try to get these to survive. We'll see, but if you have not a super healthy seedling, I don't know, is there hope for the plant? We'll see, but I'm not gonna give up on them yet. But I just wanted to show you guys too, not everything goes according to plan, even with the seedlings. I haven't had this issue before. So if anyone has any advice on that, I would love to hear it. That's all I've got for you guys today, friends. I hope you enjoyed this seed starting hodgepodge episode. And if you are starting seedlings, happy seedling time to you. If you haven't already, there's still time. And if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening, and I'll be talking to you soon.